And welcome back to the Zolteus Gaming Channel. I am your host Zolteus. Back with another episode of Empire Sin. We're still trying to learn how to play the game, so let's get right into it. All right. Well, in this episode, like I said, we're going to take a look at these screens very quickly, and then we're going to take our first racket, and not our first racket as in our first one that we have, but our first one we're actually going to attack to take over. So you got the boss. I kind of showed you this screen earlier, but you can outfit them. You can also take a look at their abilities, their traits. In this case, you absolutely want to make sure you take a look at this because this can definitely affect how you play the game, and it can help you play the game smarter. So right here, less time to take to learn boss talents, which is great. That's not that big a deal, only because it's just going to happen. We don't have to manage it or anything. Right now, he's working on a current talent. It's only going to take him 3 weeks, which in game time, that's not very long at all. And neighborhood casino income when equipped to a safe house. So if I equipped my boss to the safe house in this neighborhood, which he's automatically, at least I'm pretty sure he's automatically equipped, because this is the only neighborhood we have a safe house in. We get 10% income from casinos, which casinos, obviously, there are pros and cons to casinos. When it's time to take one, I'll tell you about it. But the short story is casinos are just that. They're casinos, right? People can come in and lose lots and lots of money. On the complete other hand, they can come in and win lots and lots of money. So casinos are kind of a mixed bag when it comes to that. You'll have plenty of events where it makes you just normal money. You'll have one in I don't know how many, but a low chance of getting a bunch of money from a casino, and then you have a low chance of losing a bunch of money from a casino. So pluses and minuses to that. Gang leader, which means even more reduction to learn boss talents. 10% up on leadership and 10% up on marksmanship, which is nice because marksmanship is what basically allows us to deal damage and to accurately hit targets. We have second generation, which means right off the bat, plus 10% morale gain and plus 10% loyalty gain. So I know what you're saying. You're like, he's the boss. He doesn't need to have a morale gain or a loyalty gain for himself, right? Well, if you have other people that are working for you, whether they're advisor, underboss, whatever, or even just made men / women or associates, if they have the second generation tag, they will actually gain more morale and loyalty because you share the same trait. That's a thing with this game. So something to keep a lookout for, but keep in your head when you look at associates to actually hire. Then you have amazing what talking can achieve. Temporarily adds plus 20 to the boss's attributes when present during a sit down. Sit downs are what happen when you meet new bosses, and you only get 3 options when you meet new bosses, and we'll talk about them a little bit more when we actually run into it. But basically, you can threaten them, you can attack them, or you can have a sit down with them. So that's the nice thing about this is it temporarily adds 20 to your attributes, which means if for some reason you need to intimidate them or you need to persuade them, those both go up by 20 temporarily. So that's nice. Thick-skinned, less chance to have an injury and better chance to resist crit. What an injury means is if you get injured, you can't do work anymore. You can't run around. So if for some reason the boss were to get injured, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm assuming that it's very highly unlikely. But if the boss gets injured, he can't actually go out and do stuff. You would only be able to do it with your associates. So you would lose the benefits of having a very high hit point, special ability boss to be in battles for you. Then you have reckless. So he has less defense. He has 0 defense, as a matter of fact. But he has higher initiative, which means he'll go first more often. he's happy. He gets plus to marksmanship and plus morale bonus for nearby party members. So morale goes up for other people, for every or morale goes up for him for every nearby party member. So that's nice. Barroom Brawler, he gets plus 10 melee damage and plus 10 to melee, both when he's drunk. Or no, he just gets them, but he gets a better one when he's drunk. So, if you find some alcohol, and alcohol can have bonuses if you utilize it in battle, obviously he gets even better bonuses. So that's nice. Now here's the two that are Empire related. That when we first looked at him when we were doing the boss selection screen, we saw these bonuses. So brewery production is 20% less cost, which means the more I produce, it's not going to cost me as much. That's nice. And then you have brothel ambience cost. So when I decide to upgrade either the production or the ambience of the production for breweries or the ambience, which, as we talked about in the last episode, ambience is a big deal, right? In brothels, it's going to cost me less to do that. So that's a good thing. Stronger bonds, passive faction rating gain when in defensive packs. So when you create defensive packs with other bosses, the thing with increasing your relations with them is they will deteriorate over time. So you'll lose some faction rating as things go along, as time goes by, unless you're just constantly interacting with that guy or girl, I should say. Let's not be gender specific. There are male and female bosses, and unless you're constantly messing around with them, doing stuff with them, or things like that, your rating's going to decrease. Well, here, according to this, when you're in a defensive pact with any of the bosses, you get a +1, which effectively can mitigate, if not, completely overturn and then add some faction rating, just because of that. So that's awesome. And then you have Barroom Brawler, increases your melee skill and melee damage. This effects increases if you're drunk. Either way, what that's telling me is I need to equip a melee weapon on him because he would be decent with it if for some reason he needs to be in melee range. This weapon right here says he doesn't need to be in melee range. However, if for some reason he gets into it, he can do some damage. So there's that. Here's where you choose your traits. Choose your skills. These are your traits, but choose your skills here. So right now I'm choosing this, which we kind of discussed in the very first episode. But you don't. If you're bleeding out, you're not dead. That's the big pro to that. So I take that with all bosses, and so you can kind of project, and then the same thing with whoever you choose as your associates. You can pick their skills, and then here's just information. So going back, we have the Black Book. We kind of talked about this. One thing I did want to emphasize here are the skills, or sorry, not the skills, the professions. So I picked the tank. Demolitionist is a pretty awesome thing because they get a lot of explosive related skills to choose from as you go through the tiers. Eventually they get to the point where you can actually have free explosives that they'll have access to anytime you get into a fight, which is nice because explosives are very costly. Grenades are upwards. I think the cheapest one I saw was like $2,200. So prices are obviously not very realistic in this game, but it will save you costs on exploding things. So demolitionists are nice. Hired guns are awesome because obviously when you put a gun in their hand, the hired gun will be much more proficient with it, which means they'll most likely do more damage, which means more kills, less damage to your guys. You can do the math. Then you have Doctor. Doctors are very, very helpful. Very, very beginning game, you may not need it so much, but you're still going to need it soon. I even if you get past, if you get up to 100 notoriety and you still have not gotten a doctor, I'm going to highly recommend you get a doctor at least buy Notoriety 100 because very, very useful. It'll take time to do their skills. Obviously, we looked at the skills earlier, and several of their skills are just free healing without using doctor's bags or first aid kits or things like that. So highly recommend looking into getting one as soon as you can. And then you have con artists, which I haven't dealt a whole lot with them, but from what I understand, they are very good at using the long range weapons in battle. So if you are tired of close up guys or maybe medium range guys and you want to not necessarily snipe, but you want to use rifles, things like that, those are the guys to look into. And I believe for the most part that's it. There used to be what did they call it? They call it sniper. There was another class that used to exist. It doesn't anymore, but they used to like start with the sniper rifle skills, so they were literally game changers. I don't think they're a thing anymore. I think they got taken out. But either way, that's that. And then you can go to your tier tree here. You can promote someone to the advisor role, lieutenant, maid, and then obviously, like I said, associates. When first hired to a gang, all gangsters start here. As soon as you start getting skills learned, you can go up to maid, but then you have to assign people to the lieutenant, advisor, and underboss role. So as you can see, there's some depth to it. Obviously, you can only assign lieutenants to safe houses, and you have to have extra safe houses in other neighborhoods in order to actually assign a lieutenant. So. And lieutenants cannot become moles, which we'll talk about when we actually get the quest for a mole. But that's that. Mission, we've already kind of talked about mission. If you click on it, it will show you where it is on the map. That's very useful. Just like the Swarm Reunion, I still have to do my story quest here. I have to speak with the guard at the door of a brothel. But either way, no big deal there. So the black market. This is a big deal because you're eventually going to have to buy stuff, right? Now, obviously, as you can see, very few, the color tells you what kind. So as you can see, green is uncommon. Orange-ish, beige, I guess, is common. And then you have purple, which is epic. Rare is blue. And it doesn't look like they have anything other than that. And then, like, the near red is unique. But one of the big things I always highly recommend is buying a few first aid kits to start. That way, if for some reason, because they're consumables, as soon as you use it, it's gone. So I also recommend protection. You always want as much protection as possible, but I don't always recommend buying it at the black market because sometimes you'll find it as you take guys out. But all right, we're done here. We've gone through the tabs. Now, let's go ahead and attack a thug-occupied building. So, we unpause the game. We run over to this building here. And now we go and save because why not? All right. Wait, did that say 2 out of 5? Is that it's a big building. So we're not going to do that one yet. As you can see, difficulty will determine how many guards or how many thugs are in there. Now, with some bosses, I would say, yeah, let's just do it. With with Alphonse Capone, it might not be the best idea. His super ability is pretty decent, but it's not that great. So let's check. Yes, difficulty 1 of 5, which means there's only going to be 3 or 4 in there. With only 2 of us and one of us being a boss, we should be able to take it. Confirm.
All right, let's go.
All right, so true battle. We got 4 guys in here, right? 45, 40, 60, and 60. So we kind of need to make sure we utilize cover well. Understand what each of your weapons does, right? So in this case, burst fire with the machine gun that I'm using, I need both AP in order to be useful. So what I'm going to do is I am going to move right there. I am going to... I have options here. I can switch weapons, which would allow me to shoot a pistol once, which the pistol I'm holding might be enough to say take this thug out, which weirdly enough, even though he's behind this corner, I could actually attack him, I'm fairly sure. But instead, I'm going to do something called Overwatch, which I didn't discuss before. Overwatch, as you can see, don't think it covers that whole area. I made the mistake of thinking that. So you see the green area in the right here? It's not, none of the squares light up, which means something is blocking his ability to see these squares. However, when I do something like this, you can see the squares light up right over here. If any one of these guys steps into one of these squares, I will attack. So we're going to do that. This guy is going to do the same. However, his attack only costs 1 AP, but it will end his turn. And I don't like 40% odds. So I am going to go... Let's go here.
Right.
And we're also going to Overwatch. There we go. Ooh, Overwatch worked pretty well there. Unfortunately, I had to utilize both in order to actually take him down. Eh, you missed.
Assholes.
Hey, watch the language. Who's he attacking? Oh, yeah, he attacked and missed. All right. So, that was the round. Overwatch worked pretty well, right? We took one down. Always be aware of percentages, right? Because obviously to attack this guy, yes, it has the potential to take all 60 hit points because it's burst fire, but I also have less than 50% chance to hit him, whereas I have a 72% chance to hit this guy. Damage, it's a lot. So we burst fire. Done. So that guy's down. Oh, and this is what I was talking about. See the little heart with the number next to his name that appears right here? That means he has 4 rounds to bleed out, and if one of his buddies comes over and uses a bandage on him, he gets back up. So one thing we can do to prevent something like that is perform an execution. Now we do that, it ends the turn, so we're not going to. We're going to bait them to come out. Once again, low percentage to hit here, and that's because they're using cover, and so maybe we go back to Overwatch, so we force this guy to come out and attack. Bang, got him, and he missed. So he is going to attack again. He missed. And that's the thing with pistols, is you can take 2 shots. So we are going to, let's see, can we can't get the other guy, and that's what I'm going to do. So let's you know what, let's just move. All right, so we are going to
You got it.
think this will work. And then we Overwatch. Yes. All right. So, bang. So now it doesn't matter if he moves out to attack, we will attack him. So now all we need to do is take this guy down. So, just for funsies. Hi there, buddy. I am right next to you. Only a 55% chance. Of course. Let's hope it works. Bang. Got him. All right. Ooh. Wow. Okay. All right. All right. Now we can actually hit him. So as you can see, I dislike when it does that. All right. So we can attack this guy again, obviously, and he's down, so he won't be difficult. But here's the nice thing about burst fire. 46%, right? Well, 46% 5 times. It does 20 to 29 damage. So worst case scenario, if I hit 3 times, he goes down. And if I'm lucky and I hit twice, he goes down. So 46% chance is not too bad. So let's see if it works for us. See, I got 2 of the hits, which means he's out. You'll get some money. It's nice. Take the loot. Now, here's the thing. You can ransack, raid the building, steal anything that's not nailed down. You could walk away with money, weapons, you name it. This action will close the building for 25 days, as you can see up top. You can smash it up. This destroys the building, which will temporarily disable it as a functioning building. This will close the building for a long period of time. So there are bonuses, pluses and minuses to this, right? One is if it's, say, a building that you have no interest in, but you don't want to let your enemies have access to it. This is what you would do, and it would smash it up for the better part of a year. So if for some reason you did want it eventually in the future, you just don't want it now, this is the best way to take it off the market, so to speak. What we're going to do is take it over. So, plenty of options, right? We have a speakeasy, we have a brewery, casino. As you can see, it has earnings and little upkeep. Pros, potential for high earnings, little upkeep, but the cons, big wins can be destabilizing, and that's no joke. You can lose thousands of dollars. I'm already at negative 89 per week. So, then we have brothels. Brothels don't need to consume alcohol to function, but alcohol will increase profits, and the thing with it is they provide low reliable income. So it's probably a very good idea to make this a brothel. Like we did understand, one of our boss's good things is for breweries and for brothels. So we also get better income from casinos, right? So you have to make a decision. We will eventually get all of these. Hotel is grayed out because you have to have one of each of these in order to have a hotel. The nice thing about it is they double neighborhood combination bonuses, and the more of these you have, the more synergies you get with the hotel. So we're going to turn this into a brothel. You can call it whatever you want. Apparently this one's called Naughty Nudes. Hit OK, and then you're in the brothel. Right. I highly caution you staying away from being in here in a. Wait a minute. Is this a brothel? It is. All right, brothel worker. It almost looked like a speakeasy for a minute. I highly do not recommend staying in the brothel for a long period of time. There is always the potential that while you're in here. Passively, you take advantage of the entertainment in whatever building you're in, which for the brothel, obviously, that would be taking advantage of the entertainment of the brothel workers, right? Well, unfortunately, you could get sexually transmitted diseases by doing that, so you may want to stay away from being inside of brothels as much as possible. At least staying in them. You can go in them to check them out. But we're going to go to pause again. So, now that we've done that, very quickly, we're going to go to our... Actually, do it this way. We're going to go to our rackets, right? So, with the star spot, we already had some upgrades, right? We had an ambience upgrade. We're going to upgrade deflect because I want to get that suspicion down. But now I'm going to go to my brothel. And as you can see, it's already minus 25%, but this one is even cheaper. And this one is even cheaper than the other ones at 1. 1,500. Security is always going to be a little bit more, but this one's 1,200. That comes from our ability. I'm going to upgrade the ambience because I want to make more. See, as you can see, bonus to income when you upgrade. I'm also going to increase deflect. because eventually the suspicion will go up, and this will help keep it down. I don't want to do too much right now. I actually do want to go to my brewery and increase alcohol quality, because eventually I do want to match what the preferred is for the neighborhood. Suspicion's already up, so I am going to up deflect. 8,000, we can do all right, but I'm gonna show you a trick as soon as we meet some other factions. But that is going to do it for this episode. We've taken a racket. We've taken a look at the screens. So we're doing good. So that's going to do it for this episode. Like and subscribe for more content. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.